Lab 5, Aldol reaction and column chromatography separation. This video consists of two parts. In the first part, a regular column chromatography separation will be demonstrated using the columns available in our department. In the second part, flash chromatography will be demonstrated using a calibrated Mohr pipette as a column. In this video, Bibia will show you how to prepare a column for chromatographic separation. The principle of separation is based on differences between interactions of compounds with the stationary phase. Nonpolar compounds do not stick in the column and elute quickly. Polar compounds are stuck in the column for some time since they have functional groups which can form hydrogen bonds with the silica gel. Place a piece of glass wool at the bottom of the column. You may tuck it in with a long glass tube or use a vacuum to suck it into place. Make sure that the pinch clamp is closed. Put sand into the column using a scupula until the level of sand is even. Pour about 5 milliliters of the eluting solvent into the column. Big columns are usually packed using the wet or slurry method. Prepare the slurry, a suspension of silica gel in the eluent. Weigh out 8 grams of silica in a beaker, then add the solvent to cover it completely. Stir with a glass rod for a few minutes to make sure that all the air is released. If some of the air bubbles are present in the column, separation will not be effective. Pour the slurry in the column. Open the clamp and start draining some amount out. When you drain, make sure that the silica gel is always covered with the solvent, about 0.5 centimeters in height. Add some amount of the eluent to the beaker with slurry and repeat the procedure. Place some sand on the top of the slurry pack, about 0.5 centimeters in height. Weigh out 0.4 grams of the crude product, dissolve it in a minimal amount of the solvent, about a pipette full. Load it onto the column using a new pipette. Pour the solution carefully on a side of the column. Drain. Every time you drain, keep about 0.5 centimeters of the eluent above sand. Otherwise, the silica can crack, channels will form, and the mixture will pass through the column without separation. Use 0.5 milliliters of the eluent to rinse the flask and load into the solution in the same fashion as you did before. Drain. It is crucial to keep your solution concentrated so the band of your compound won't tail in the column and the separation won't be ruined. Add 0.5 milliliters of the eluent to the column in the same fashion and drain. Add another 0.5 milliliters and drain again. Now you can see the thin yellow band on the top of the column. Add eluent carefully, pouring on the side of the column until you are halfway up. You can use the same eluent that you drained to continue loading the column with. Open the clamp and keep adding eluent until you reach the top. Now you can pour the solvent straight in from the beaker. Watch how the band is moving down. Collect the yellow band in a pre-weighed flask, either a round bottom or a small Erlenmeyer flask, as directed by your instructor. In this video, Philip will demonstrate the principle of flash chromatography. Flash chromatography is useful since you reduce the amounts of silica gel, solvents, and crude product. Since the column is thin, a dry packing method will be used. Place a piece of glass wool at the bottom of the column. You may tuck it in with a coil or use a vacuum to suck it into place. Put sand in the column using a spatula until it reaches the 9 or 10 milliliter mark, depending on the pipette you are using. Weigh out about 3 grams of silica on weighing paper and pour it in. While pouring, tap the column. This helps to settle down the silica gel. Fill it until it reaches the 1 milliliter mark. Add sand until it reaches the 0.5 milliliter mark. Add eluent until the column is full and blow a gentle stream of air through the orange hose. Drain until the column reaches the 0 milliliter mark. Repeat this 7 times or until the silica gel in the column looks homogeneous. Dissolve the product in 1 milliliter of the eluent and load the solution on the column in 2 portions. Let it drain in small portions during each load. Do not use more than 1 milliliter of the eluent. Too much of it may dilute the sample, which will result in a wide band and tailing, indicating a poor separation. The band must be narrow as it travels down the column. Fill the column to the top with the eluent. Keep adding it until the yellow band is eluted. Always apply pressure while running the column as shown. Collect the yellow band in a pre-weighed flask.